What is up, guys? It's me, the AOLE Double X Prince, and I was thinking about some of the guys who could have made it big and never did, and Cesaro was easily one of the top guys. I was going through some old pay-per-views, and then I was watching NXT Arrival when NXT was fucking awesome, and I saw that match with Cesaro and Sami Zayn, and I remembered, wow, Antonio Cesaro could have been a big guy. And I say Antonio Cesaro because I think that was one of the biggest downfalls of Cesaro was that he lost his last name, or his first name, I should say. Um, and rarely do you see top players successfully make it with only one name. Like there's rare, like maybe Christian, Edge. Uh, Trying to think of some. Yeah, like imagine if John Cena was just Cena. Imagine if Stone Cold Steve Austin was just Austin. Like it just wouldn't work. So I am gonna rebook Antonio Cesaro from 2014 till WrestleMania 37. So, what would I do different with him? Not a lot. I would just tweak some of his matches. Like, for example, we'll kick off at WrestleMania 30 where he won the Andre the Giant Battle Royal. Everything stays the same from WrestleMania 30. Antonio Cesaro wins. Like, we even keep the exact same Mania with uh, freaking John Cena losing to Bray Wyatt. I mean, John Cena beating Bray Wyatt. Daniel Bryan versus Evolution. So we keep everything the exact same way, and it's Antonio Cesaro winning the Battle Royal. We basically get um Antonio Cesaro. He turns on Jack Swagger, wins the Battle Royal, becomes a new Paul Heyman guy. Yes, he's a heel. And Antonio Cesaro, he has his match with RVD and Jack Swagger. Uh, False count anywhere. It was an elimination match originally. I'll make it a false count anywhere just to make it a little bit more interesting. That way, all three can tag in the match. Uh, it's a number one contenders match for the U.S. belt. Uh, and Sheamus, who is the U.S. champion at this time, not Dean Ambrose. It's Sheamus versus Cesaro at Payback 2014. Sheamus wins. Then Cesaro participates in the money in the vacant WWE World Heavyweight Championship ladder match, like in real life, where John Cena becomes a 15-time WWE champion. The Authority is furious. Nobody could have beaten. Like Randy Orton couldn't do it, and around this time, Randy Orton's too busy with Roman Reigns. So Paul Heyman decides to make a bond with the Authority just to get rid of the John Cena, the people's champion, even though he really wasn't. So at Battleground, we do John Cena versus Antonio Cesaro for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. Now we're finally doing something different for once. But anyways, uh, John Cena and Antonio Cesaro, they have a kick-ass Battleground main event. And John Cena wins. And Stephanie McMahon and Triple H are like, dude, like we trusted you. Like that this guy was gonna beat the Authority figure or John Cena. So the Authority says, you know what? Give me another chance. She's like, yeah, we're not doing Cesaro and John Cena at SummerSlam. It's not a money match. Oh, who said anything about Cesaro? We're bringing in Brock Lesnar. So we do Brock Lesnar versus John Cena, like in real life, the main event of SummerSlam 2014. What do we do with Cesaro? Around this time, The Miz and Dolph Ziggler have been feuding for the IC belt. So we're going to add Cesaro into the match, making it a triple threat match. So it's going to be The Miz, the IC champion, Antonio Cesaro, and Dolph Ziggler in a triple threat match for the Intercontinental Championship. Cesaro wins the match, and then Paul Heyman is happy because Antonio Cesaro is the IC champion. Brock Lesnar is the WWE champion. And then the next week we have a kick-ass promo of Paul Heyman with Brock as the champion and Cesaro as the IC champion. That would be a fucking picture to look at. And then throughout the fall, Dolph Ziggler and Cesaro continuously feuding, so much so that they actually go back and forth with the IC belt. Then comes Survivor Series time, and it's going to be Team Cena, John Cena, Dolph Ziggler, Dean Ambrose, Ryback, and The Big Show, defeating Team Authority, Seth Rollins, Kane, Rusev, Mark Henry, and Antonio Cesaro. The Wyatt family never splits up around this time, so we do Antonio Cesaro replacing Luke Harper, the IC champion, and Dean Ambrose replacing Eric Rowan, because around this time I really didn't want to see Dean and Bray Wyatt. It was just kind of lame. We could probably save that for TLC, but yeah, I just didn't want to see that fucking match. So we do TLC 2014, and it's going to be Cesaro versus Dolph Ziggler for the Intercontinental Championship in a ladder match, 1-on-1, and Antonio Cesaro wins. It'll be just great to see Antonio Cesaro just having a kick-ass match, and people are like, holy shit, maybe he's going to be the world champion next year. WrestleMania 31 hits, or WrestleMania season hits, and we do the Royal Rumble, and the final four are Roman Reigns, Rusev, Antonio Cesaro, and Daniel Bryan. Roman Reigns eliminates Rusev, giving him a kick-ass moment. Antonio Cesaro sneaks up on Roman Reigns, gets payback for eliminating him and the Shield brothers at the Royal Rumble 2014. So the final two are Antonio Cesaro and Daniel Bryan. Who would imagine that those two would ever be the final two in the Royal Rumble? But Daniel Bryan wins the Royal Rumble. Yes, so we're gonna do. So just to give you guys a heads up, here's what the card will look like for WrestleMania 31. It's gonna be Randy Orton and Seth Rollins opening the show. We keep that match the same. The Wyatt family versus Dean Ambrose, Dolph Ziggler, and Ryback. Sting versus Triple H in a no DQ match. Roman Reigns beating Antonio Cesaro for the IC belt. Rusev losing the US belt to John Cena, AJ Lee, and Paige versus the Bella Twins. We keep that the same. And then the main event will be Brock Lesnar and Daniel Bryan for the WWE Championship, where Seth Rollins will cash in, steal Daniel Bryan's moment, making him a legit heel, because part of the problem was because people were just happy that Seth Rollins took the belt off of Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar. This way, you take the belts, the opportunity from Daniel Bryan, clearly WWE's or the real WWE People's Champion, and that will just give Seth Rollins major heel heat. Now, back to Cesaro at this WrestleMania. We do Roman Reigns versus Antonio Cesaro for the Intercontinental Championship. Part of the reason why I'm doing this because I think Roman Reigns was not ready to be WWE Champion, and I think he could have been a great Intercontinental Champion around this time, not Ryback. So we have a good match here. Like, we'll give it 15 minutes. I think these guys could carry a good ass match, honestly. And Roman Reigns does beat Antonio Cesaro, which pisses off Paul Heyman. He just looks at Cesaro and he just walks away. And then the night after WrestleMania 31, Cesaro talks about how he is willing to like just do whatever it takes to be at the top. After he walks out. Now, around this time, Brock Lesnar gets suspended and he will lose his rematch clause. Keep this in mind. Brock Lesnar will, in fact, lose his rematch clause when he returns. We don't know when or where. But then we have to have a new number one contender. So in the main event, it will be Antonio Cesaro, Randy Orton, and Ryback. Big Show attacks Randy Orton in the match, making it Ryback and Antonio Cesaro. Antonio Cesaro wins, and he is the new number one contender for the WWE Championship. Hooray! Extreme Rules hits. It's Seth Rollins versus Antonio Cesaro for the WWE Championship in a steel cage match. Big Show interferes in the match once again. We pull the Austin McMahon moment, but a little bit different. So in that match with Austin and McMahon in a steel cage, Big Show wanted to help Vince by throwing Austin through the cage, which backfired. And around this time, Seth Rollins getting too cocky with himself. He's being a bitch. So Big Show just loses it on Seth Rollins, grabs Seth Rollins, throws him through the cage, making him the winner. And Antonio Cesaro gets mad, picks up the Big Show, and then throws him on the other side of the cage, breaking that, making him just like being like, oh shit. And then Cesaro grabs the belt. He says, I'm not done with this. Throws it back at Seth Rollins, and then it ends with Cesaro standing tall. Yes, Cesaro isn't the champion, but we're getting to something even bigger. Payback 2015, it'll be Seth Rollins defending the belt against Randy Orton, Big Show, and Antonio Cesaro in a fatal four-way match. Seth Rollins wins by pinning Antonio Cesaro, and Seth Rollins is celebrating until Dean Ambrose comes, beats the crap out of Seth. So the next feud for Seth Rollins is Dean Ambrose, like in real life. At the Elimination Chamber, we do the main event will be Elimination Chamber IC Championship match where Roman Reigns will defend it against 6 of the top players. Antonio Cesaro is not in this match. Due to the fatal four-way, he does have a little feud with Antonio Cesaro, with Randy Orton, I should say, my bad. So at Elimination Chamber, we'll just do Antonio Cesaro versus Randy Orton. Plus, I think we're good without seeing Antonio Cesaro in the WWE or the IC title picture just quite yet. So we do Antonio Cesaro versus Randy Orton Elimination Chamber. Antonio Cesaro wins. It will be a good moment for him. Then we do Money in a Bank, where Cesaro will participate in the Money in a Bank ladder match. On this card, it's going to be him, Randy Orton, Roman Reigns, Dolph Ziggler, Rusev, Sheamus, and The Miz. Yes, a lot of people are not liking The Miz. Oh, and Neville. And Neville. So the Miz gets his ass kicked before the match even happens. We don't even know what happened. So it's just gonna be the match is gonna continue without the Miz. Antonio Cesaro looks like he's ready to win until you hear Brock Lesnar's music. Brock Lesnar runs into the ring, does a couple of F5 suplexes, stares down with Cesaro. Cesaro was about to punch Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar catches that punch, reverses it into an F5, and then Brock Lesnar climbs the ladder and steals the Money in the Bank briefcase. Because part of the work that was well done for Brock Lesnar is that he was a heel. Because Brock Lesnar works way much better as a heel than he does a babyface, which infuriates Cesaro, and he wants Brock Lesnar pretty soon. But around this time, he faces John Cena for the U.S. belt. We still do that open challenge with John Cena and Antonio Cesaro. We do have those 2 kick-ass Raw matches. But it is that those matches were strictly just to make us remember what kind of a talent Antonio Cesaro is. So he doesn't really need the victory until SummerSlam 2015, where it's going to be Brock Lesnar versus Antonio Cesaro and Seth Rollins versus John Cena in the main event title for title. So we do Brock Lesnar versus Antonio Cesaro, and Antonio Cesaro loses. I'm sorry, but I don't think. I think the best thing that they could have done with this match is just show that Cesaro is a legit talent and that he can go with the best. We're not quite at the moment where we make him the top player. We do not shoot him to the moon. So we do that. Brock Lesnar beats Cesaro, and that's in the main event, Seth Rollins versus John Cena. Seth Rollins wins not because of interference by Jon Stewart. Instead, Seth Rollins beats John Cena clean, which shocks everybody. And then Brock Lesnar comes out, cashes in, suplex city to Seth Rollins. F5, he wins the WWE Championship. Now, Seth Rollins is still the United States champion, but he does get injured not that far like in real life. So, we do a United States Championship tournament where the final two will be John Cena and Antonio Cesaro. At Night of Champions 2015, we finally do it. Antonio Cesaro finally beats John Cena after so many times of just failing to beat him. And Antonio Cesaro gets his big US Championship moment. At the end of the night, John Cena and Cesaro shake hands. They hug it out. It is a cool mark out moment. But around this time, Antonio Cesaro becomes one of the people's guys, which is a big no to Triple H. Damn it. So Triple H starts giving shit to Cesaro. He does give him a couple of matches on Raw, but a Hell in a Cell is going to be Antonio Cesaro versus a mystery man. Who the hell is going to fight Cesaro at Hell in a Cell? And that person is Alberto Del Rio, like in real life. Alberto Rio beats Antonio Cesaro. And there's that. So then we do at Survivor Series. This is the night where we had Undertaker 25 years. He challenges Brock Lesnar for the WWE Championship. We do a similar feel like in real life. And Brock Lesnar beats Undertaker. And what do we do with Cesaro? What you say? We are gonna do like Team Roman Reigns versus Team Kevin Owens or something. But basically, he's just gonna be part of a 6-pack challenge match, which leads to nothing. And then, but that's not the important part. At the Raw after freaking uh Survivor Series, we do a beat the clock challenge. Winner faces Brock Lesnar in a TLC match for the WWE Championship. I think if we pay Brock Lesnar good enough money, I think he'll be invested in doing this match. But Antonio Cesaro wins the beat the clock challenge, and it's Brock Lesnar versus Antonio Cesaro in a TLC match. And Cesaro loses again, but not only does he lose, he gets injured, unfortunately, around this time. Around this time, WrestleMania 32 was like the WrestleMania full of injuries. So there was that, which is like such a bummer. So Antonio Cesaro will unfortunately miss out at WrestleMania 32. That is just so upsetting. But here is what the card will look like. It'll be Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns in the main event. Around this time, I think now people will get behind Roman Reigns because he wasn't shoved down our throats and he didn't steal Daniel Bryan's moment. So now it will make sense for Roman Reigns to be taking that spot. We do Triple H versus Shane McMahon. We do the Triple Threat Divas Championship match, which will lead to the women's match, Charlotte, Sasha, and Becky. We do Undertaker and Sting in the farewell match to both of these guys. So imagine that. We're getting Brock and Reigns properly. The women's triple threat, Triple H and Shane, Undertaker and Sting, AJ Styles and Chris Jericho. We keep that the same. We'll keep the Intercontinental Championship ladder match just because I did enjoy that Zack Ryder moment, and plus we didn't get a IC multi-man ladder match the previous year, so it won't be as annoying to watch, and it will be cause for a great moment. And of course, New Day versus the League of Nations, and it leads to that epic moment of all three legends interfering. So I think that should be a solid card to have for WrestleMania 32 now. And now Antonio Cesaro returns the Raw after WrestleMania 2016. And here is something that you guys are not going to like. But from 2016 to 2018, I'm keeping everything the same. So he has a few matches for the IC belt with the Miz, and we do that epic fatal 4-way. He forms the bar, and he is a part of the bar for a very good while, making you think, oh shit, they probably did give up on Cesaro. Now, if you guys watch my Kurt Angle rebooking video, I did mention that Kurt Angle becomes the IC champion and starts facing all kinds of guys. Cesaro will be one of those guys, so there's that you should know. But yeah, Braun Strowman does not form an alliance with Nicholas. Instead, Braun Strowman beats Sheamus and Cesaro all by himself. The bar does get drafted to SmackDown, leading to that epic match with the New Day and the Usos. So all of this stuff stays the same, unfortunately. Some people don't like that, but come on, it will be good to see something that works. And anyways, after WrestleMania 35, so around this time, the here's where I will tweak things up a little bit, just so I could get people back into falling in love with Cesaro. So Brian and AJ are feuding, and somewhere along the lines, the bar are making fun of AJ for not being a champion and how the bar will be always be champions. And AJ Styles main events one SmackDown, a random SmackDown around this time to face Antonio Cesaro, making us fall in love with who Antonio Cesaro was. Even though he loses, he puts over AJ Styles in a kick-ass match. But people are now going like, "Oh shit, we want Antonio Cesaro back. We want that Antonio Cesaro back." Then we do the Andre the Giant Battle Royal at WrestleMania 35. What do we do with the SmackDown match? We do Usos versus Hardy Boys at WrestleMania 35 instead. Then we do the bar splitting up at WrestleMania 35, and then on SmackDown we do Antonio Cesaro versus Sheamus in a one-on-one match where Sheamus beats Antonio Cesaro, unfortunately. But then this is not bad news, because what we're gonna do is send Antonio Cesaro to NXT UK. Yes, we're gonna send Antonio Cesaro to NXT UK. We bring back the Cesaro that we all once loved. Give him some couple of kick-ass matches with Ilja Dragunov, Pete Dunne, Cassius Ohno. That could be a great reunion. And then at NXT Takeover Blackpool 2, we do Walter versus Antonio Cesaro for the United Kingdom Championship, where Walter still wins. You're saying to yourself, oh my God, when is Cesaro going to win the big one? Hang on. At this point, Cesaro has done a fantastic job. He is ready to go back to the WWE main roster. So he goes to SmackDown after WrestleMania 36. If you guys watch my WrestleMania 36 video, which is one of my favorite videos out here, go out of your way and watch it. But you should know that Sami Zayn vacates the IC belt because of COVID-19, and he's staying at home. So Antonio Cesaro returns around this time. He has a couple of kick-ass matches. He's not yet at the top, but then we do AJ Styles versus Antonio Cesaro once again at the WWE Thunderdome. SummerSlam. So SummerSlam, it will be Antonio Cesaro versus AJ Styles for the Intercontinental Championship. Antonio Cesaro wins the Intercontinental Championship. He holds it for a couple of months until Big E beats Antonio Cesaro for the Intercontinental Championship. And then, get this, Antonio Cesaro wins the Royal Rumble. And then we do, in this booking, now we could either do Drew McIntyre or Roman Reigns. Now, a lot of people would probably go with Drew McIntyre because it will be two UK guys. And people want to see The Rock and Roman Reigns. However, I personally, if I had it my way, I would have done Roman Reigns and Antonio Cesaro for the Universal Championship, but with the roles reversed in this booking, because now Reigns is a Paul Heyman guy and Antonio Cesaro is the babyface. So that would be a pretty cool story to do. But if you want to do Drew McIntyre and Antonio Cesaro, fine. But this is the night where Antonio Cesaro becomes world champion. And then he'll carry that for as long as he can. And there we go. And officially make Antonio Cesaro a superstar. What do you guys think of this rebooking of Cesaro? Did you guys like it? Did you guys think it's stupid? Be honest. Let me know. Meet me, the ALE Double X Prince. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And until then, I'm out.